Tonight, the new numbers in on inflation actually higher over the last year than economists had expected.
Retail sales were higher than expected for the month of January. Now that's despite rising inflation.
Does inflation have you down?
Hard to get ahead with rising prices?
Is inflation crushing your dreams?
Are you churning on that hamster wheel?
Is there no hope for any of us with inflation?
Is everything about to end? Man, inflation has really got me down.
Me too. Let's talk about it.
Hey everybody, you are kicking it with the Homeboys. We're so excited that you're with us. We've got a very exciting topic today, something that hits home with everybody across the country, maybe across the world for that matter. We are talking inflation. And yes, it is real. I've seen it, you've seen it. You know, how does it affect you as an investor? What do you do to hedge against inflation? We're going to cover all that today. My name is Clint Wetherill. As always, I'm here with my very handsome and delightful co-host, Mr. Scott Adams.
I love it. Overselling me as always.
I'm just speaking the truth, man.
Yeah.
Just speaking the truth. How we doing?
Good. You and I had a pretty good day. Had some ups and downs, some headaches with some of our bigger development projects, but we're here and couldn't be happier.
All is good. I coming off of a night without heat or hot water. Didn't pay my bill.
Didn't pay your bill.
So I'm on here giving real estate advice to folks, and here I am getting my utilities shut off.
Yeah, I happen to know the backstory to this.
So as a owner, one of the owners of a large property management company, as you can imagine, we see lots of bills coming and going, and my gas bill at my house somehow got paperless and was ending up in a junk folder in my email.
Yeah.
Didn't get a call, from the company, nothing.
Right.
I did miss it. It was not paid.
Right.
My wife calls yesterday and says, "Honey, we don't have any hot water." So I'm packing my kids up yesterday, bringing them into the office so they could get a hot shower last night, and then had space heaters set up in all of our bedrooms. But
what an adventure.
I got my gas on, and here I am going to tell everybody about being a conservative real estate investor and paying your bills and paying down debt and get my utilities shut off.
Yeah, well, we live pretty complicated lives with all of our bills.
It's nuts.
Someone asked me recently, what your electric bill is at home, one of my neighbors, and I thought, I have no idea what any of my bills are because our accountant pays everything. Mm-hmm. So, there's certain things that we get a free pass on because
I couldn't believe it. I mean, I haven't paid a gas bill since it's been set up.
Right.
Because I moved about a year ago, and we are in a much smaller home.
Right.
Right now, it's kind of a transitional home. We're building later this summer, but I was amazed that really over the year I only accrued $900 some of gas charges. Both my furnaces are gas. I thought that was pretty reasonable.
Yeah. That's not the first time either of us this has happened to either. Someone I know, meaning you, also had a water bill at the last house that you didn't know. It just never came to you.
I never got a water bill.
Right.
So if the water company is listening to this, they're going to track me down. I'm going to end up in the slammer over this. Yeah. You'd say what do you mean you've not paid a water bill? I'm like, I have not got a water bill since I've lived in this house, and I've lived here for 5 years.
Right.
Never got a water bill.
Well, this is a good way to kind of
funny story. So the pool company, had a swimming pool. I got a new liner, and then the pool company said, "Hey, you want us to fill up the pool? It's like so much a gallon, and it was going to cost like $800." I'm like, oh no, my hose will be just fine.
And they were like,
that water be free.
It's so bad.
I know, but
so bad. But this is a good way to transition into today's topic, which is everything's going up, especially people's home gas prices. I guess are increasing.
What's not?
Right.
You know.
I mean, we are in an inflationary market. Whether you want to call it hyperinflation or not, that's there's people who can argue both sides of that. I think it's crossed into the hyperinflation zone if you build back in the cost of oil and consumables, which they leave out. I think we're in that hyperinflation zone. But
you're using big boy words,
sorry,
okay?
sorry.
You're using big boy words. Let me just dumb this down. So we're just getting out of Valentine's Day here, this week. I have a thing where I just cook dinner for my wife and our 2 daughters.
Right.
On Valentine's Day, I cooked a chicken dish, and I got a $20 bottle of wine, 1 Valentine's card, and then just the ingredients to make dinner. $110
Right.
at the store the other day.
And I told you my wife was $3.50 at the grocery the other day, and her cart wasn't all the way full. Mm-hmm. So for everyone out there, they're feeling it. They're noticing
Crazy
it.
at the grocery store, man.
Yeah.
It's like I couldn't believe it when I got up there. Like, 'cause I'm the guy that whenever I go to the grocery, which isn't that often, I'm in there to get my crap and get the heck out of there. So I'm not really like looking at the prices, but I kind of know what I feel like the price is going to be when I get up there. And $110, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I haven't been to the grocery in almost 10 years because I'm not allowed, because I don't look at prices, and I take 2 carts and I just get whatever I want. I'm like a child in there. So
you go hungry, so you just like throw everything
everything. Like everything. I have Fruit Loops, and just it's like being back in my childhood and all the things that I couldn't get then.
Right.
But, everyone's noticing this and feeling it. Anyone who shops, and there's ways where you can benefit from inflation as you can at the very least hedge against it where it doesn't affect you. The people that are hurt, it's sad, in inflationary times are the people with the least amount of assets and the least money, because
You're saying just because everything becomes more valuable?
yeah. So people who own assets, just generally speaking, they get some gains out of inflation. If you look at historical curves of real estate, it goes up pretty steadily with inflation. And, those same people own stocks, which during inflationary times also tend to pace very close to inflation. So the wealthy, it doesn't hurt them. That's what people I don't think understand, too, is the wealthy aren't really hurt by inflation. Everyone's crying about it, but there's some people who actually benefit. A lot of times people are large holders of assets like land and gold and companies, and they can make money through inflation. And so for the typical person that's watching this, I think the easiest path to keep up with inflation and not get burned by it is to own those assets like real estate, investments in gold and those. And I think the easiest one for most people to get into is real estate, which that happens to be what we're experts at.
So what caused the inflation? So like if you go backwards and just, try to pick up on what caused it. I mean, are you I ask you because you're a lot smarter than I am, but is it the giving out of free money? Is it the cost of money? Because obviously, when you peel it all the way back, inflation, was caused by demand of resources and goods and consumables and, all of that. So you have a lower supply and a high demand, right?
Right.
So what is your take on, what's caused it?
The answer is yes to all of those things. Mm-hmm. It's a multitude of factors. And, I'm no expert. I obviously studied economics in college, just like you did. Mm-hmm. I think
I thought you were going to say, well, the gross domestic product curve hit its axis.
Right.
And then whenever you look, it's going down towards the Y. You take the median of that versus the inflationary.
I have been looking at that data,
index,
as you know, because I'm a nerd and I enjoy seeing those things. But when you break it down to just normal, a simple explanation, you nailed it all. Mm-hmm. It's a lack of goods coming in, or at least a fear of a lack of goods. The supply chain was interrupted. And, you can go back to explaining how that happens is it all started with Toyota. Toyota was the first company that said, we're not going to build a whole warehouse and hold all these parts. It's when the car is being made, it's, at that moment, the part arrives. That's when we want it. And so it's a pull, not push. And the whole world went to that system. Amazon, everyone. It's product on demand, no giant, warehousing of products. So as soon as there was an interruption in that, it's a domino. And at the same time, we were giving out free money. our economic policy was already very liberal with spending and lowering interest rates. And so there's not a lot of levers the Fed can pull right now to stop it without throwing a giant bucket of ice water on the economy at the same time. So we're in an unknown times. However, the very current system that we're in, which is inflationary, it's real simple. It's not complicated. You just got to own some assets.
Right.
It's the way to get through it. It's the way to not be hurt. Consume as little as possible, which what are you going to do? Eat less. It's not like
we're an excess, gluttonous society, anyway.
We're gluttonous
it's
consumers. We just consume. If you can lower that, great, that would help you. But find a way to get some assets, even if you have to leverage to get in them. I think one of the things that people are worried about is buying in right now on assets because of pricing and because of the limited supply. How do you feel about that? Buying in now despite that.
Well, where are you going to put it? Number one. I mean, if you're talking like from an investment standpoint, CDs, savings accounts, any kind of fixed income product you might as well put it in a jar and put it in your backyard. So there's not much there. There are still real estate investments, that make a lot of sense. I mean, you have to be cautious.
Right.
In times like this, it's harder to find the deals. I've always been more lenient towards real estate investments. The stock market scares me to death. It's all funny money that, it doesn't really make any sense to me. So, I still think that there is smart money in real estate. I still think that there's some options out there. We're still in. It's a bad time to buy a car. It's a bad time to buy any kind of recreation type item like an RV or I'm in the market for a 4-wheeler. It's amazing the prices that what it's the jump that we've seen in just call it 12 months. We've been talking about buying cars for us because we have company cars here, right. For several years.
Yeah, so we own a lot of vehicles. So we have a fleet of vehicles that our maintenance people drive and our sales people drive. I think we have like 24 vehicles that we own. Mm-hmm. Well, 2 vehicles are kind of luxury vehicles that are, for when clients are in town that we drive.
McLarens or Bugattis.
No. I shouldn't say the luxury. They're not. Yeah, they're not like that. They're just Tahoes or Yukons. And we bought the leases out of those because they couldn't find us new ones when the leases end. And those are the only 2 vehicles we lease are the 2 nice ones because we keep 2, every 2 years the lease goes up and we replace them. That way when clients are in town, we have something nice to drive them around in. And we couldn't get them. That was almost 2 years ago now. Mm-hmm. And we've just owned these and we keep trying to buy vehicles.
Yeah, but then you go back 2 years and see what the price was 2 years.
Should have done it.
Should have. And then, now you look at it's mind blowing what the price is, and you can't see it before you can't sit in it.
Right.
You're these vehicles are 100 G's, and you can't get in it and look at it. But yet everyone's buying it, and there's 84-month financing now on cars. So if you go to Chevy, Ford, whatever car company you go to, that's what the default is when like if they have a builder of a car where you can get on there and build your car out, it defaults to 84 months. I mean, I remember, it was since within the last 4 or 5 years, us talking about how crazy 72 months was.
Well, yeah, 60 months when I was younger was crazy. Mm-hmm. I remember the first time I was offered 60 months on an Infiniti when I was in my 20s. And I thought, are you crazy?
60 months.
60 months, but now that's normal. So
now it's 84.
Yeah, it goes back to the overall thing, which is consume as little as you can during these periods and invest in assets. Now, it's always a tough trigger to pull investing in assets in an up market. When is the right time to buy? When there's blood in the streets, you buy. When prices are low. However, in inflationary markets, we're buying like crazy right now. We're building like crazy. We're building, this year we'll put up 400 doors at least. We're $30 to $40 million worth of real estate built that we're going to build this year during this, despite the prices. And don't get us that sounds like a lot of real estate to a lot of people, but that's not enough power to even get deals on supplies. We're paying outrageous market prices for our lumber, for our windows. We're having to order windows right now
For a project in 4 months.
yeah, for a project 4 months from now. So, we're doing it. We're spending the money to do it because during these times, we know that this is a great way for us to offset that inflation that we're all feeling. So we're putting our money where our mouth is with this. We really believe in it. And, historically, you can look to any economist and they're going to tell you a few things to buy in order to hedge inflation and to soften your, the effects of it on your life, which is, real estate, gold, investments, solid assets help you through it. But, that's the real summary of today. It's real simple. Buy real estate. If you're feeling the effects of this inflation and you want to keep up with it and you have some savings, if it's sitting there in the bank or even in a CD, you're losing ground fast. Mm-hmm. That dollar is worth a lot less money tomorrow than what it was worth today. So, stick it in real estate. At least it will keep up. I know it's hard to pull the trigger sometimes during times like this when real estate is expensive, but there are still deals out there, and we just believe in it. We're doing it ourselves.
We're not accountants, so I don't really want to give accounting and tax advice, but there are some advantages there to discuss with owning of real estate.
Right.
That really help drive home that real estate's a very smart investment. It's just, especially when you're talking like here in Indiana, we're a very boring state. Our real estate prices just kind of tend to just go up a little. Even in 2008, 9, and 10, when the economy was crashing, we didn't see our real estate went down, but nothing like some of these other areas. So
Right.
so maybe,
If I may, our average is 3 to 4% appreciation in our market historically over long periods.
So we have a lot of friends, lots of clients, colleagues on the West Coast. So I think my opinion on those types of markets, let's just say the Bay Area. We've been to the Bay Area a lot. I think my opinion is a little different than it is here in the Midwest. I would say I probably would stay away from any of these highly volatile markets that see these huge pops.
We say that any time to do that, but probably especially now. It's inflation brings also instability, and so you have to be aware there's other things you got to watch for. It's not just an inflationary market. It's bringing instability to a market. It brings unknowns. So you also have to be cautious. So you have to be aggressive with buying, but you have to be cautious where and what you do it with, I think is the easiest way to say that. And you are right. There's a lot of people who made a lot of money on those coastal markets, and we just don't believe in them. They're too up and down. And they're too expensive. They don't make sense in terms of cash flow, which is why a lot of our clients are from those markets because they.
So when you're saying cash flow, just throwing out an example, you're talking that you're paying $1 million for something that gets you $5,000 in rents.
Right. Correct.
Something like that.
Right. And one way to think of it, you and I talk a lot about, is that 1% rule. So if you buy a $100,000 house, you would like it to bring you $1,000 in gross rents. Mm-hmm. Now it's not a straight line. It's harder to do, but you can get pretty close here.
Right.
You're talking 0.01% in some of those markets. I mean, you just can't get anywhere close.
So another market, and we're talking coastal, we're talking large markets, throw New York City, Chicago, some of those larger markets. I would say that your vacation type markets, similar. I know some vacation markets exceptionally well. I've been in the Panhandle of Florida for a very long time because my folks started. They had a little place in the Panhandle.
Right.
The prices there, I can't fathom. It's unbelievable.
I know.
I mean, you're talking literally. Oh gosh, 40% appreciations in 4 years.
Right.
5 years.
You and I bought a house in Cape Coral. Gosh, 8 years ago probably we bought it. We paid $250 for it. We put a little money in it. We sold it for like 350 or 400.
I thought it was 400.
Yeah, 400. I looked on. I did comps the other day.
Sure.
It's unbelievable. That house is easily 850.
Yep.
You know, it's so there's some markets where you do need to be very cautious right now. You could buy in those markets trying to offset your inflation and end up upside down in something.
Yeah, I've seen in Gatlinburg,
Yeah.
Tennessee. You know, for those that don't know, I mean, it's kind of like a Branson. You know, it's a destination. There's all kinds of things to do. Dollywood is there. You know, it's great for families. But anyhow, me and my wife really enjoy taking the kids there, and we've looked for the last 4 or 5 years. You know, just been conscious of the prices of real estate. They've doubled. They've doubled in 5 years.
I know, because I take my family there too, and we started looking. You know, you and I together considered offering on some. Yeah, it's you got to just be careful where you do it. You got to find conservative markets. You know, the Midwest is a great spot for it. You just gotta dig through and look at a lot of stuff, and you got to pull the trigger. People always ask us at events that we speak at, you know, is now a good time to buy? When's the best time to buy? The answer is always the same to me. It's both not right now and now. You know, it doesn't matter what the market's doing. As long as you're going to buy a good asset and in a conservative area and you believe in the cash flow, who cares what it's really worth at the end of the day? You're making your cash flow. That's just a number on a piece of paper in a lot of ways. You know, if you're not selling it, it doesn't matter. It's something you paid. Say you buy a house for $300,000 and it's bringing you in $3,000 a month in rents. Who cares what someone will pay you for it right now? You want that $3,000 every month coming in. So I don't care if the market says it's worth $500,000 right now. I don't care if the market says it's worth $250,000 right now. As long as I'm getting my $3,000 in rents, my investment's performing the way I want it. Now, don't get me wrong. I want it to also appreciate so I can get that cherry on top at the end when it's paid off, or you want to sell it and capture some of that, growth that you've had. But at the end of the day, as long as you look at this as a cash flow investment, it doesn't matter when you buy. As long as you buy it and the numbers work for you, you can hold that forever if that's your plan. That's a great thing about being a long-term holder of real estate. If that's your plan, which is what we believe in a lot of ways, that part doesn't matter. You find an asset that performs, gives you cash every month, a good amount. You buy it and you sit on it and you make that money and put it in your pocket every month.
I think that's important to note because, if you're looking at a 1 year, 2 year window, it's not a good thing to get it, to hedge inflation by getting into real estate. We're selling to our customers and to ourselves long-term plan, in real estate. This isn't, we're not telling our clients to become, house flippers.
Right.
Right now, really ever. We believe in long-term holding of real estate as a sound investment vehicle.
Right.
So if you're looking for a quick buck, don't believe all of these flip this house and all these crazy shows that are on TV. That's not reality. They've got the power of a large network behind them, and they've got producers making that look as appealing as possible. That's not how it works.
You mean not everything I see on TV is real?
It's crazy, right?
Who would have thought?
That's saved for the internet.
Yeah.
Everything is real. But anyhow, inflation is real.
It is.
Everyone has to be very conscious of it. You're seeing it everywhere you go. The gas pump, the grocery store, the car lots, you name it, it's there. Mm-hmm. So be aware of it. Invest smartly. Look for long-term real estate investments. We're the Homeboys. We're excited that you joined us today. Please like us, share us, tell your friends about us. We got a lot more coming this season. Till next time, happy investing.